You crossed the line, Linda. This ends now.
You have no authority here. This is MY neighborhood.
It was a quiet Saturday morning in Willow Creek, a sleepy suburban town just outside Charlotte, North Carolina. The kind of place where folks mowed their lawns on schedule and waved at neighbors they barely knew. I was pushing my cart down aisle 7 of Harper's Market, my only goal to grab supplies for a backyard barbecue. Steaks, buns, a case of cola, nothing fancy. I'm Tom Harrison, sheriff of Mecklenburg County, and this was my one day off. But in a town like Willow Creek, trouble has a way of finding you, even when you're just trying to buy ketchup. I was reaching for a bag of briquettes when a lanky teenager in ripped sneakers rammed into my cart, snatching my gallon of milk. Yo, thanks, old man, he sneered, tossing it into his own basket. Neighborhood cookout emergency. He was all attitude backward cap, earbuds dangling, and a smirk that screamed he'd never heard the word no. Before I could respond, he grabbed my pack of hot dog buns, acting like he owned the store. Hold up, I said, keeping my voice steady. You mind explaining why you're taking my groceries? The kid puffed out his chest, clearly used to getting his way. My mom's the HOA president. She needs the stuff. You're nobody. A woman nearby, clutching a jar of pickles, let out a soft gasp. I glanced at my cart, half my week's shopping now in his hands, and raised an eyebrow. So, you're robbing me in broad daylight. He laughed, like it was a game. That's when I pulled out my sheriff's badge. The kid's face went white as a sheet. His name was Ethan, I'd later learn, and he was 17, the spoiled son of Linda Carver, the HOA's self-appointed queen. Ethan's bravado melted faster than ice cream in July, especially when his mother stormed into the aisle, her yoga pants and oversized sunglasses screaming suburban royalty. Ethan, honey, is this man bothering you? Linda's voice was sharp enough to cut glass. She glared at me like I'd just kicked her dog. Ethan, sensing backup, pointed at me. He's freaking out over some stupid milk, Mom. Threatened me. Linda spun on me, her hands on her hips. Sir, you will hand over those items. They're for a community event. Step away from my son. The aisle was now a stage, with shoppers peeking around corners, one guy even recording on his phone. I tried reasoning. Ma'am, your son took my groceries without asking. I'm just defending my cart. Reasoning with Linda was like arguing with a brick wall. She accused me of harassing a minor, disrupting an HOA-sanctioned purchase, and me favorite loitering with intent. The store manager, a nervous guy named Greg in a faded green vest, shuffled over, already sweating. Folks, can we sort this out? Linda pounced. This man assaulted my son and is blocking our community fundraiser. Greg looked at me, clearly hoping I'd cave to avoid a scene. Sir, maybe you could let her take the items? We'll replace them. I didn't blame Greg was caught in the crossfire, but I wasn't about to let this slide. I held up my badge again, my voice calm but firm. Sheriff Tom Harrison, you're attempting theft and falsely accusing an officer in public. The crowd went silent. Linda's jaw dropped, and Ethan's phone slipped from his hand, clattering on the tile. A woman in the bread aisle started clapping, then another, until half the store erupted in applause. Linda's face twisted like she'd swallowed a wasp. You can't do this. I'll have your job, she screeched, but her threats fell flat. I leaned in, just enough for her to hear. You're on camera encouraging your son to steal. Think carefully before you say another word. She grabbed Ethan and stormed out, leaving a trail of stunned shoppers. I thought that'd be the end of it. I was wrong. By the time I got home, my wife, Sarah, was scrolling through the Willow Creek HOA's Facebook page, her eyes wide. Tom, you need to see this. Linda had posted a community alert with a blurry photo of me in the store, claiming I'd screamed at her son and waved a gun. Ethan chimed in, saying I'd lost it over a block party. The comments were a mix of outrage and skepticism, but Linda's loyalists were eating it up. Then came the HOA violation notice, taped to our mailbox the next morning. Urgent, property noncompliance. Immediate inspection required. Signed by Linda herself. Our lawn was pristine, our trash cans tucked away per HOA Rule 4.1.3. ID memorized it after Linda fined us for a misaligned mailbox last year. This was retaliation, pure and simple. At the sheriff's station, things got uglier. Our desk officer handed me a report. 3 anonymous calls claiming a man impersonating a sheriff was terrorizing families. All named me. I sat in my office, staring at the wall. Linda wasn't just petty, she was dangerous. I called the county's records office and requested every HOA complaint filed against Linda in the past 5 years. If she wanted a fight, I'd come prepared. Her next move was straight out of a bad movie. I caught 2 guys in a golf cart parked across from our house, scribbling notes and pretending to inspect my gutters. One was Linda's cousin, Jerry, who she'd once passed off as a certified roofer despite him nearly falling off a ladder at a neighbor's. Linda's neighborhood patrol was infamous retirees and busybodies armed with clipboards and HOA rulebooks, sniffing out violations like bloodhounds. Now, they were targeting us. Sarah got a citation for planting daisies not on the HOA's approved list. Our patio table was deemed excessively reflective. It was absurd, but it was working. Neighbors started avoiding us, afraid of Linda's wrath. Then Ethan upped the ante. Our backyard security camera caught him sneaking into our garage at 2 a.m., prying the lock with a screwdriver. He didn't take anything, but the garage wasn't just for tools. It held locked sheriff's equipment, clearly marked. I confronted him the next day, showing Linda the footage. "This is archived," I said. "One more stunt, and I'm pressing charges." Linda scoffed, claiming Ethan was auditing for HOA compliance. Her confidence was unshaken, but Ethan looked rattled, his usual smirk gone. The real showdown came at the HOA's monthly meeting in the Willow Creek Clubhouse, a bland building with sticky chairs and burnt coffee. Linda arrived with a binder thick enough to stop a bullet, plus a stack of grainy photos. She skipped the agenda and went for blood. "We must vote to declare Sheriff Tom Harrison a danger to our community." She waved photos of me taking out the trash, walking our dog, even reading on my porch, claiming they showed intimidation. Some were clearly doctored. One made it look like I was yelling at a kid. Another had me near a broken fence I'd never seen. "He's a rogue cop," she declared, slamming her binder shut. I stood, letting the room settle. Then I introduced my guests, the county attorney, Rachel Nguyen, and Councilman Ed Torres, who'd been sitting quietly in the back. Linda's eyes nearly popped out. Rachel explained that the department's security drone used at a recent fundraiser Ethan tried to vandalize was fully legal. Ed added that Linda's harassment claims had been dismissed. Then I laid out my evidence. A folder detailing HOA payments to Greenleaf Services, a company registered at Linda's address. Checks signed by her, approved by board members who hadn't attended meetings in years. One of those members, Mr. Jenkins, stood up. "I haven't been to a meeting since 2021. What's my name doing on these?" The room erupted. Linda screamed about fake news, but her allies shrank back. I sat down, arms crossed, watching her unravel. She left her binder behind, and Ethan slunk out the back. For the first time, Linda was silent. The fallout was swift. 3 board members quit, one leaving a note on our doorstep. I didn't know she forged my signature. I'm horrified. The HOA chat lit up with neighbors sharing stories of Linda's bullying fines for wrong curtains, threats over kids' chalk drawings. But Linda didn't quit. She went underground, whispering to loyalists and threatening lawsuits. I wasn't idle. With help from county auditors, I dug into Greenleaf Services. It was a shell company tied to Linda's brother, with thousands in HOA dues funneled to it. Receipts showed landscaping payments for work never done, including a $10,000 pergola in Linda's backyard, billed as a community shelter. I needed an insider to crack the case. Ethan was the weak link. I arranged a meeting through his school counselor, sitting him down in the station's break room with a soda. He started cocky, but when I showed the garage footage, he crumbled. "Mom said you were hiding illegal stuff," he mumbled. "She said you weren't a real sheriff." I slid over a memo Linda wrote, outlining a plan to neutralize me with fake violations and smear posts. Ethan's name was on it. His face fell. "She wrote this." I nodded. "Tell us what you know, or your name stays in the file." After a long silence, he called his dad, Mike, who lived nearby. Mike wasn't shocked. "She's been controlling him forever," he said. Ethan spilled everything. Linda's orders to break in, spread lies, even plant evidence he never followed through on. With Ethan's statement and the financial records, we had enough. The county prosecutor filed for an HOA audit and a warrant to search Linda's home. We moved at dawn, while she was at spin class. In her basement, behind a locked safe, we found crates of records, fake invoices, unfiled taxes, and grant applications for projects that never existed. Linda came home to find us there, screaming about tyranny and trying to shove an auditor. I walked past, clipboard in hand, and said nothing. She'd buried herself. That night, the sheriff's office announced the HOA investigation. Neighbors came forward with more stories, and Linda's patrol vanished. At the next HOA meeting, attendance broke records. Linda sent a rambling letter claiming a government conspiracy, but no one cared. The board voted to rewrite the bylaws, and the clubhouse felt alive again, not a dungeon of Linda's rule. The charges came fast: fraud, embezzlement, obstruction. Linda was arrested during a Pilates class, mid-lunch, screaming she had diplomatic immunity. A bystander's video hit the internet, titled HOA Queen Cuffed in Spandex, and went viral. Her empire collapsed as her last supporters scattered. Ethan testified against her, his voice steady. He apologized to me after, and I shook his hand. "Takes guts," I said. He moved in with Mike, started therapy, and took up photography. Linda's trial was quick. Her attempt to move money to her brother's account sealed her fate. She got 5 years, no bail. The neighborhood changed. Mrs. Clara Evans, a retired teacher who'd once backed Linda, ran for HOA president and won, promising transparency. At her first meeting, she thanked me. "You showed us how to stand up." I smiled. It wasn't just me. It's what happens when people stop being afraid. We finally had that barbecue. Sarah, our daughter Emily, and a dozen neighbors filled the backyard with laughter. No one watched us with clipboards. No one cared about our flower beds. It was just normal. Standing on my porch later, glass of sweet tea in hand, I looked at the quiet street. Linda had nearly broken this place with fear, but we'd fought back not with anger, but with truth. She thought she could bully forever because no one said no. But all it took was one person to stand firm, and the rest followed. That's how tyrants fall, when their shouts stop scaring you, and you look them in the eye. What do you think? Have you ever faced a bully like Linda, or seen injustice take over a community? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Should we confront these issues head-on, or is there another way? Let's hear your take on standing up to power and fighting for what's right.